All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Wow, guys, today we had another massive pump on Bitcoin, seeing some very explosive price action to the upside, continuing yesterday's pump, and we are pumping up to our next major level of resistance on the charts. So, for a while, on this Bitcoin relief rally, we've been talking about both the bullish and the bearish scenario. So our bearish scenario was seeing this being an A, B, C, ending around our prior range point of control, and maybe seeing a big dump from there, or even possibly coming up to that 100.5K area where we did have the 1.236 of the ABC target. If this was an A wave, this is a B and then a C. That 100.5K area, which was right around the swing failure pattern of the Bybit hack highs. And we busted straight through that today. We have now confirmed that that bearish scenario is no longer in play. The ABC is no longer in play. Now, actually, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It is far less likely because the ABC scenario, a B wave target is all the way up to the 786. But we are right about that 786 right now. So if I go ahead and I zoom out, let's just zoom out onto the daily chart. And let me go ahead and hide this range here. Let me hide both of these ranges. And we look at our Fibonacci pull from the all-time high to our 74K lows, and then we go ahead and turn on that 786. You can see right now we are above the 786. The 786 was about 101,800 on Coinbase. We had a box of resistance up in this area, and we still technically are up in this box of resistance. We have the value area high of our range. I will go ahead and turn that range on in just a second. We have our 786, we have a monthly level, and we have a daily level up here. So you can see I have the monthly on the charts. It's at 102,400. And then we have our daily level up here as well. Let's go ahead and flip that on. Daily is at 101,500, and we busted through that earlier today. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that daily level now. It's been busted through, really no reaction. We got a slight reaction from it earlier today, a possible scalp short from it earlier today. But one of the things that I do want to talk about here, yes, we are at resistance and we are trying to break through this resistance area. Now, if this is that impulse that we were talking about on Bitcoin, there is a couple spots that we could be looking for this rejection to end. First of all, we do have one more daily above us at 104.7. Now, I want you to keep this in mind because we're going to talk about this area between 104.7 and 105 in just a second here. But right now, I want to go ahead and we're going to turn on our volume profile of the all-time high range. This was our prior all-time high range. So we were able to bust back within the value area low, back test that value area low a few times, confirm it to support, work our way up to the point of control. We did see that rejection over the weekend from that point of control, and we came down and took out our weekend lows on Tuesday, 2 days ago on Tuesday. We took out those weekend lows down in this area. We did go long from that area. This was our Sunday low. We SFP'd our Sunday low, and we've been impulsing to the upside ever since. One of the things that I do want to talk about here is this next area of resistance. This next area of resistance is our next big area, the second biggest area besides this large point of control area that we were looking at last week. So now that we broke above this point of control, you can see we broke above it last night. After the Fed meeting yesterday, we had a small retrace, and then we busted above it with a volume candle to the upside. And we just had continuation all day long. Look at not a 4-hour red candle all day long, just straight continuation all day long. Now, this was helped a little bit by some news, trade agreement news that Trump had with the UK, but technicals first and news follows. So what we are at now, we are in our general vicinity of resistance here. And this resistance is just simply the value area high of that range. Let's zoom out to the 8-hour chart. And you can see the value area high of our prior all-time high range is coming in right around 103K, pretty much right at 103K. But also, if we turn on the entire range, like if we include all of this price action as one range now that we've reestablished price action back within this range, we can measure it all as one range. At least on Coinbase, you can see that it has the same exact value area high right at 103,000, right where we are at right now. We are just below it. If we zoom in on the 5-minute chart here, you can see we're hovering right around it now. We're actually on lower time frames trying to flip it to support, but we're having some trouble with this range. So wicked past it. We wicked up past it, got that one last little liquidation push. It was a short squeeze. You can see that very, very clearly here on the charts. That one last wick up past it was a giant short squeeze here. Big drop in open interest. Of course, our CVD was rising heavily because a forced close out of a short is a market buy, a market long. So CVD was increasing because we were getting that short squeeze. We had a lot of people shorting a little bit, too late here, too early, excuse me, and then they got squeezed out. So now we are at that value area high, and this value area high is going to be a very, very key level to see whether Bitcoin does reject and see that bigger pullback that we've really been waiting for this entire relief rally. We have not had one real nice liquidity grab and pullback in this entire rally. We've just had internal liquidity grabs before continuing this push up, which is a bit unhealthy, in my opinion, with this relief rally, because when we finally do start to lose steam and break down, the breakdown can be much bigger and much more aggressive. So, but the thing I want to talk about right now with the value area high on Coinbase, you guys saw that value area high is coming in right at 103K, right where we're at right now, and kind of trying to see rejection from right now. But if we go on to Bybit and we turn on that same exact range, let me just zoom out here. Let's go on to the 12-hour chart. And we look at that same exact range on Bybit. You can see that first of all, the 786 is a bit higher. Instead of 101,800, it's at 102,200 or 102,300, closer to 102,300. But our value area high of the range on Bybit is not up until about that 104,900 area, 104,900. And so it is a bit higher, and there is a possibility that we could continue up a little bit higher here to hit the Bybit value area high and see the rejection from the Bybit value area high. We also do have that daily level. Let me zoom out onto the daily chart, and you can see that daily level is coming in about 101,700 on Bybit, 104,694. So I would say the next area of resistance, we're in resistance now. We're near that 786. We're near that monthly. We're in that general vicinity of resistance. The next major resistance, the biggest resistance on the chart was the point of control in confluence with a weekly level, in confluence with a naked weekly point of control, all of this area here. We broke above that level. We just saw a small pullback from that level. So it did give us a reaction, but it wasn't as good of a reaction as we wanted. We now busted through that level. So we look up to the next major resistance. The next major resistance is coming in on the chart. On Coinbase, we're at it right now. On Bybit, it is a bit higher here. So if we look at that Bybit chart, I do think the next major zone that we could be watching for, if the Coinbase area is not going to be respected, is this general vicinity between 104,700 and 105. Let's make sure that this is right. Yeah, about 105,130. And that is the area that I would be interested in looking for a bigger pullback, just based off of the volume profile. So we had our volume profile. We broke back within our volume profile, broke above the point of control. Well, what's the next likely scenario is to work our way up to the value area high. And we are at the value area high on Coinbase. We are not at the value area high on Bybit. So we'll see if Coinbase's value area high rejects us, or if we come a little bit higher to reject from the Bybit value area high. But I am expecting this to act as a bigger resistance where we could see a bigger pullback from here. And with the way that we have been pumping within this relief rally to the upside, there has been no real pullback at all, no real bigger pullback at all. So I am expecting that if we do not get the bigger pullback from here, we will not see a bigger pullback before breaking all-time highs. But if that is the case, if we continue to pump straight up without seeing a bigger pullback before new all-time highs, let's go zoom out onto the weekly chart. You can see not one red candle within this weekly chart on this entire push to the upside. So it's a bit unhealthy here as far as our liquidity grabs and healthy pullbacks before continuation to the upside. So if we do not reject from this value area high general vicinity, either on Bybit or on Coinbase, then I do suspect that we could come up and break the all-time highs. But what we need to be watching for is a double top swing failure type of pattern coming in, breaking the all-time highs, just to get everyone bullish that we're breaking the all-time highs, and then we could see that bigger retracement to the downside on possible liquidity grab of the all-time highs. Seeing that unhealthy push that has pushed us up for 6-7 weeks in a row, grabbing liquidity of the all-time highs, and then seeing that bigger dump to the downside. That is just something that I want to put on the chart and warn about. But right now, Bitcoin is just looking bullish. We have pumped up to key resistance. I am in a short. I did short that value area high earlier today in the Discord stream. We were looking at lower time frame price action, and after we got this initial short squeeze up to about 104K, we did look at a lower high and then shorted that lower high. So I am in a short right now on Bitcoin from pretty much right at 103. And we also were looking at a few other coins here. I'll go into those in just a second. But yeah, Bitcoin right now, it's looking pretty good. We are at resistance, and this is an area where we could see a bigger pullback. But if we look on our indicators here, you can see money flow on Market Cipher B still looks pretty strong here, and we're not really seeing bear divs anymore. We have invalidated our bear divs on the 1 hour. If we go, and then, but NAMI here, NAMI is showing some bear divs as we're coming up into this area. Money flow has topped out, and it is starting to decline a little bit to the downside on the 1 hour chart. On the 2 hour chart here, you can see that money flow is just crossing over into the green on Market Cipher B and no bear divs. On NAMI, money flow still looking pretty strong here, no bear divs. If we go to the 4 hour chart, first of all, we've now invalidated those 4 hour bear divs, at least locally. The local 4 hour bear divs have been invalidated. Now, we do still have very slight bear divs from April 22nd, these highs up here where the start of that ascending channel was. We have that ascending channel that was building, and now we have bear divs from these highs to our new highs. You can see that this momentum wave is slightly higher than the 4 hour momentum wave that could be topping out right now. So we could be creating those 4 hour bear divs. Money flow does look pretty healthy here though, and money flow, it is starting to round out towards the top here. And it would be a money flow divergence as well. You can see money flow from this high on April 22nd is much higher than the high of the money flow right now. So we would have not only momentum divergence, but we would also have money flow divergence coming into a very, very key area of resistance on the chart. That's on the 4 hour chart. Now let's zoom out onto the 8 hour chart. On the 8 hour chart, we are still developing that bear div, and these higher time frame divs are going to matter. So we have finally made it up to our next key resistance area, seeing that April 22nd high. We have higher highs on the price action, and we have 3 humps of lower highs on the 8 hours still. Money flow is looking pretty healthy here, but it is looking a bit like it's topping out. Also on NAMI here, you can see money flows topping out on NAMI on the 8 hour chart as well. No bear divs on NAMI, and we actually were even seeing a hidden bull div on NAMI between the rejection from 97.3 all the way down to our taking out our weekend lows here. And let's finally go to the 12 hour, and then we'll do the daily as well. So 12 hour money flow, first of all, looks very strong. Looks like we could continue up, but we are forming bear divs still. We have the higher highs here. We have the lower highs here. Money flow is not topping out yet, though, so I do want to see money flow starting to round out and roll over. If we get a red candle, a daily red close, or even a 12-hour red close, that money flow could start to top out here, and we could see this momentum wave roll over, confirming that 12-hour bear div. And then lastly, let's go to the daily chart. Daily chart is still forming possible bear divs. We are at our bigger resistance, really the only big resistance up until the all-time highs. And you can see our daily from that April 22nd. The momentum wave is higher still. Money flow does look pretty strong though here. And money flow is not looking like it wants to top out yet. As far as NAMI goes, we were seeing those bear divs that were developing through this ascending channel. They played out with a small push to the downside, and now we are pushing up again. But even if you look at NAMI here, you can see between those April 22nd highs and the momentum wave that we just had now that looks like it's topping out on NAMI. We do have daily bear divs pretty much confirmed on NAMI, and our money flow is topped out and is starting to curve to the downside here. So we are seeing those warning signs of the bigger pullback. And I know I've been saying this at every major resistance level, and we haven't had a major pullback yet. We did get the pullback over the weekend on Bitcoin from the 97.3 area, which did give us a good scalp short opportunity. But now this could be the area where we do have the big pullback. If we do not have a big pullback from here, then Bitcoin's going to new all-time highs. Let's just talk about this because I do think this push up has been pretty unhealthy as far as grabbing liquidity and as far as seeing a good retrace. Now, it definitely does look clearly impulsive now, like a 1, 2, 3. The thing is, your wave 4 didn't really retrace. You didn't make any lower lows in here, which is a bit concerning. So if we will really want to remain like hyper bullish here, you could say that this was a wave 1 in that contracting diagonal, that flat in a wave 2. All of this is a wave 3. And then we're going to see a retrace from this value area high in a wave 4, maybe back down to the point of control to back test that point of control, and then see a wave 5 to break all-time highs, having that double top, and then seeing a bigger 3-wave corrective down to the golden pocket, and then exploding up once again. So that is a couple scenarios we need to keep in mind on the chart, keep in mind in our heads as traders. But Bitcoin's looking strong, and we do have strong money flow on the daily. If we do zoom into the 15-minute chart, we look a bit about this 15-minute chart here. We are developing the money flow is starting to finally round out and come down here on the 15-minute chart. And we are really not seeing too many bear divs here with that last push up. And that momentum wave did push higher on the 15-minute. So no bear divs anywhere really on the chart. That is giving me the bias that maybe we are going to come up to that Bybit value area high around 104.7 to 105.1. But right now we are finding a little bit of resistance here. If we can hold, we do have a new naked daily point of control around 101.5. Let's go ahead and turn that naked daily point of control on. Yeah, about 101.3. We have a new naked daily point of control around 101.3. So if we do retrace to that, we could bounce from that. You can see that's also where our prior consolidation was. Our intraday consolidation was there. We could bounce from that and continue to work our way up to the daily, where you can see at that daily level at 104.7 on Coinbase, we do have a naked daily point of control that's right on top of that as well. That would be the next area that I'm looking for the short, because that's also where the Bybit value area high is. And then, of course, we do have our monthly that is at 102.400. We did have break above that today, that monthly level. We broke above that monthly level, and we even came back for a lower time frame, back tested that level and confirmed the flip to support. You can see had that initial high, came back down to the monthly, bounced from the monthly, and then we just are kind of chopping around here around the value area high. So Bitcoin looking pretty strong here, looking like it might want to continue up. We're not really seeing any bear divs on the chart, any significant bear divs on lower time frames to tell us we could be topping out. Yeah, no 6-minute, no 12-minute, no hour, no 2-hour. It's only when we get up to the 4-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour, and daily that we have possible bear divs on the chart. But even on those bear divs, the money flow is still looking pretty healthy here. So what this does tell me is that we could see that move up to 104.7 to 105.1, where the Bybit value area high is, and then see those enough time for those bear divs to come in. Now, I did say I am still short from the Coinbase value area high. Right now, I am playing this short as a scalp. With the lack of bear divs on the chart on lower time frames, I'm playing this as a scalp, and I do look to take profit at 101.300 here. If we come down here, we bounce from here, I'll probably close out about 75% of that trade, because then we could come up to the daily here. And then if we do come down to that 101.300 level, we will be breaking local market structure bearishly. We would be breaking this low here. So we would have a local market structure break bearishly. And in that case, one thing that we could look for after breaking market structure bearishly, we could look at the golden pocket retrace. So we would then pull our golden pocket from the highs. Let's just put it on that naked daily, right around that naked daily point of control. And we would be looking between that golden pocket and that 786 for a potential lower high to come in where then I could re-add to the short if it's truly gonna break down. Okay, that is about it for Bitcoin as far as the price action goes. Bitcoin's looking pretty bullish here. You can see that most of if we go on to the CVD and open interest charts here, you can see that most of that push up that we saw for the second part of the day was a giant short squeeze. And how do we know that was a short squeeze? Because our open interest was decreasing a majority of the day. And with your open interest decreasing, that means positions are closing out. And you can see in this area, we would have a lot of short positions that would come in, and then we would pump up. Those short positions would get stopped out. We had more short positions coming in. Those short positions would get stopped out on the next push up. So we've just been having short squeeze after short squeeze after short squeeze throughout the day. Finally, seeing that last big short squeeze on the charts into that 104 area, and now we are seeing a bit of a retracement from here. I do want to talk about this retracement that we're seeing now as well. So if we come back in here, we're on the 6-minute chart. If we look at this retracement so far, it does so far look like a corrective move. You can see we got that initial impulsive high on the short squeeze, and we have our first push down. We have a kind of a grinding channel to the upside. And then if we drop back down, it could be a 3-wave corrective move before seeing continuation to the upside to 104.7. So let's go ahead and pull our trend-based Fibonacci extinction. We're just going to measure that target. So look at where our target for this 3-wave correction is coming in. If this is just a mini ABC correction before continuing up to 104.7 to 105.1, then our target for this ABC, the 1-to-1 target, is the target is between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236, and sure enough, that's right where that naked daily point of control is. So that is why I plan to take profit in this general vicinity on my short position. All right, so that is it for Bitcoin. Let's quickly and very briefly go over some of the altcoins here. Ethereum just got the most explosive day, a 22% pump today. And yesterday, we were talking about Ethereum. First of all, we bounced from that bottom band, and we weren't even up to this pitchfork midline yet. And I did say in yesterday's video that pitchfork midline could give a good opportunity for a short position. Well, we did get a nice reaction. You can see as soon as we hit up into that pitchfork midline, we did get an initial reaction and a rejection. But if you played that, you probably would have got a TP1 and then got stopped out after that TP1 there, because Ethereum's just been so bullish today. So we got initial reaction. We just got a small pullback, and then we busted through it with volume. You can see here on the 3-minute, busted through it with volume. We came up to our next level of resistance, and I did have this resistance on the chart, and I did say this was a bigger resistance. This box here on the chart was a major box. It was a naked weekly point of control in confluence with a value area high. Well, we had no reaction at all. We kept slicing straight through it, no reaction. What do we say? We've always said, do not set limits at the resistance areas. You wait for the reaction. You wait to see if there is bearish divs while coming up into this area. You can see, at least on the hourly chart, while coming up into this area, no bear divs, plus our money flow looks hyper bullish here. So didn't even look at taking a short from this area. And now I'm going to delete this box here. But one area that I did attempt to short from was the upper pitchfork band. So you can see we bounced from the lower pitchfork band. We were chopping around in it for a few days. Finally, we was able to bust above it and bullishly backtest it. We busted straight up pretty much to the upper band. And when we hit into that upper band, we got a perfect rejection from the top of the upper band here. So I zoomed in on lower time frames, was waiting for a bit of a retrace. And when we did retrace, let's go zoom into the 5-minute chart here. In this general vicinity, we hit there, we had the initial retrace. And then when we came back down and started this golden pocket pull. So if we do a Fibonacci from the highs to the lows, you can see that we hit into that golden pocket 786 area right there. Let's just go pull that a little bit better. Golden pocket 786. So let me turn on there. You can see the golden pocket is where the body stopped. So I did attempt to short at this area after seeing that kind of trying to break that pitchfork band. We chopped around sideways for a bit. We're able to hold the bottom of the pitchfork band, and then we busted up higher. Now, right before the Discord stream started, I was thinking about looking for the SFP of those highs. We did not get that SFP, so I did not short that. That was right when the stream was starting, and as soon as we saw that, we saw an initial push up on the 5-minute, but pretty much the next 5-minute candle reclaimed it right away. Didn't even attempt to short there, so I did get stopped out on one short on Ethereum today, and then also we looked for a short up at the top of the pitchfork. So here is the top of the pitchfork. Let's zoom in on the hourly chart. Zoom out onto the hourly chart. We are at the top of that bearish pitchfork. And also in terms of Elliott waves, if we were looking at this as a initial wave 1, the wave 2 back tested that pitchfork band, and we see a wave 3. So your wave 3, your most common targets are between the 1.618 is often where you find resistance. And then you have the 2.618, and even in hyper bullish moves, you can make it to the 3.618 or to the 4.618. Well, the 3.618 you can see here is in pretty much perfect confluence with the top of the pitchfork. So this is the reason why I'm attempting a short up in this area here. We also have a daily that's at 2200, 2203, and we are hovering right around this resistance area right now. I did attempt a short. Yes, money flow still looks strong. We were seeing a bit of some grindy, rangy type price action here, which allowed me to at least look for a short in this opportunity here. But overall, Ethereum is holding strong here, and we are trying to break above this pitchfork. Now, if we do break above this pitchfork, the next level I have on the chart for resistance is this golden pocket. And let me go ahead and pull this a bit. This golden pocket is a bit of an unusual golden pocket for most, but let me just explain where this golden pocket comes from. So let's zoom out onto the 8-hour chart. And if we look at, we had that, remember at the very first weekend of February, we had this giant liquidation cascade that happened, a giant multi-$1,000 dump that happened in hours. It was on a Sunday. And then we had about a week and a half of consolidation. We made a lower high and then we dumped. We had another impulse to the downside. So there is important liquidity resting right above this high here, because that was when a bunch of people were trying to long after this liquidation cascade, and then we continued to dump, or they were shorting after this liquidation cascade. Their stops are above that high, and now they've been in profit this whole time. So if you do a golden pocket pull from that high down to our lows, you can see that golden pocket is coming in around 22.92 to 23.40. And that golden pocket also has some internal liquidity right into that golden pocket. You can see this internal high here. And then we also have our 4.618 Fibonacci extinction target is in that area as well. So that is one of the areas where I'm looking for a potential short position from if we see bear divs coming up into it. Now, if we do not see bear divs coming up into it, then I will not look to short it. We can also look at the bigger impulse to the upside. We can look at this as our wave 1 and then your wave 2 here. If we go ahead and turn on the 1.618, you can see we've already busted through the 1.618. So let's go ahead and turn on our 2 and our 2.618. Okay, now you can see this 2 target is coming in right around that golden pocket as well, pretty much right on top of it, right in that box, right on top of it. So if this is going to be like a double 1-2, where we see something like this, a 1-2, 1-2, this is our third wave here. We can expect that third wave to end possibly in this area. Then we can retrace for a 4-5, 4-5, making it up to our more macro golden pocket, maybe at 2,800. But yeah, Ethereum looking really, really bullish. We had a 22% pump today on the candle, and no real bear divs on the chart. Like if we go into the hourly chart, you can see money flow looks strong, no bear divs. Now on NAMI, we are seeing some bear divs locally here on the hourly chart. Okay, now let's zoom into the 4-hour chart. No bear divs, but our momentum wave is starting to top out here. Let's go to the 12-hour chart. 12-hour chart has invalidated the bear divs, and money flow looks strong here. Also on NAMI, money flow looks very, very strong. No bear divs on money flow on Ethereum there. On the daily chart, daily chart, we have invalidated the bear divs and money flow is just crossing into the green. So I do think Ethereum has some more momentum to the upside. Even if we do see a small pullback from this 2300 area, I just expect a small pullback before continuation overall higher up to about this $2,800, 2,700 to 2,800, where you can see we have the value area low of our previous range, our upper range, in confluence with the golden pocket and a weekly level. So that would be the area, and you can see I do have a resistance box up there. Now we have to update it because the pitchfork top is no longer in that area, but that is going to be the next major area of resistance for me. We do have to keep in mind that we have some internal liquidity grabs in there. You can see also we have that major liquidity grab right above this golden pocket. But the anchored VWAP from the all-time high around 2440 will also be of interest to me to look for a short from there. That's about it for Ethereum. Now, we will have to pull new support levels on Ethereum based off of the new highs. There's going to be some new fibs there and through there. And we do have a new naked daily point of control. If I go ahead and come in here and we turn on those naked daily points of control, you can see at 2050 is our newest naked daily point of control that just confirmed about, what was that, 52 minutes ago. So if we do see a pullback from this golden pocket, we could expect to pull back to this naked daily point of control and then continue to see further upside momentum. All right. So that is about it for Ethereum. But I do expect Ethereum to continue up to 2,800 if this is a double 1-2 impulse, which it's looking like it is. We are not seeing any real bear divs on the chart. Very, very locally, I am still watching for the SFP of the highs, just based off, this kind of was a aggressive wick high. And let's zoom in on the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart, you can see actually money flow still looks pretty good here, and we are not seeing any bear divs unless we take out that high. If we take out that high, we will have local 5-minute bear divs. But I mean, 5-minute bear divs is nothing compared to the momentum we're seeing. So I would be waiting, honestly, up to the next area of resistance up here. Okay, that is it for Ethereum. Now, Solana, and guys, I do have to go soon here. Solana is at the top of our channel, a small channel, but Solana finally hit up into our area of resistance that we've been talking about on the chart for weeks. So on Solana, we've been in this descending channel, and I've been talking about in the last few videos how this descending channel looks far more corrective than like an impulsive correction to the downside, like a big dump to the downside. It looks far more corrective. So we were expecting to break out of this channel and continue up to 161, and that's exactly what we did. You can see on this little push up on Solana, we reclaimed that midline, which I talked about in yesterday's video, broke out of that channel. And as soon as you break out of that channel, you will see momentum to the upside up to the next resistance. So we saw that momentum up to the resistance. We're hitting into that anchored VWAP from the all-time highs. And I did take profit on my long from that at that anchored VWAP at 163.5. We are finding a small rejection up in this area here. You can see it's also a 786 Fibonacci retrace. And there was a naked daily point of control up in there as well. As far as our new naked daily point of control, if we turn on our naked daily points of control, you can see that we did confirm a new naked daily point of control at 160. So it's a possibility with how bullish Solana looks that we could only see a small rejection to 160 and then continue up to grab our liquidity at 180 from those Trump pump highs, semi-equal highs up here. And then I do expect us to eventually work our way up to 192 to 200. I mean, Solana looks really bullish, and I do think Solana can work its way up to 200. So bullish momentum continuing on Solana. We are no bear divs. I'm not going to go through it all with you guys on the charts, but you guys will just have to trust that there's not a lot of bear divs on the charts on Solana. And on the daily chart, money flow looks really strong, but we are seeing potential bear divs come in on the chart. Higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves right now, but your momentum wave doesn't look like it's rounding out yet. So I do think that Solana could keep coming in here. Maybe a small pullback from this resistance box and then a continuation up to 180 or 200. Okay, that is it for Solana. let me actually go ahead and turn these off here. Then let's go into XRP. Let's go into SUI here real quick while we're here. So SUI, we were expecting that continuation. Now on SUI, we did pump up to 355. We busted pretty much straight through 355. I don't remember if that was before or after yesterday's video, but we longed yesterday at 324 based off of this being a 5-wave impulse. So let's zoom out onto the hourly chart. And we finally hit into that macro 382 on Tuesday. By the way, on Tuesday, hitting into that macro 382, we were live during the stream, and I told everyone to expect a 5-wave impulse to the upside from hitting into that 382. Because within this bigger relief rally, we saw a very clear very clear impulse forming. So we had that contracting diagonal in a wave 1. We had our wave 2 pullback. We had our big wave 3 that hit up into the 1.618. Then we started grinding down and sideways, and we hit the 0.382, which is one of the most common wave 4 targets, and we saw a very bullish reaction from that. So now we're expecting a wave 5, potentially up to 434. Okay, so within that wave 5, within this wave 5, you're expecting a sub count of a 5-wave impulse within itself. So if we come in here on the charts and we look at just this hourly price action from that low, we had our initial push up in a wave 1. We had a retrace during the FOMC meeting to the golden pocket and the naked daily point of control in a wave 2. Our wave 3 happened for the majority of the day today. You can see we exploded up to that macro golden pocket. So if we look at that golden pocket, I'll show you that as that golden pocket in just a second here. But that's a macro golden pocket pulled from the highs to the lows of this entire corrective move, as well as, and let me just get rid of that. And then it's also our 1.236 Fibonacci extinction target, which is from the highs of the bigger wave 4, this wave 4 retrace that we're seeing in here. From the highs of wave 4 to the lows of wave 4, one of the ways to get your wave 5 targets is to turn on your expansions, and your expansion targets are between the 1.236 and the 1.618. So we are hitting into that 1.236, which was also right in that much bigger golden pocket, and we do have a daily there. So right while we're talking about that golden pocket, let me go ahead and zoom out on the chart onto the daily chart, and I'll show you why this is such an important area of resistance for SUI. So on the daily chart, this entire move down that we saw over the last couple of months, let me get rid of this. This entire move down that we saw over the last couple of months, if we pull a Fibonacci from the highs of that move all the way up at 537 down to the lows of that move, you can see that golden pocket is coming in right exactly where we are at now. So this is the macro golden pocket Fibonacci retrace of that entire couple month push down. I do expect to get at least some sort of reaction here for a smaller wave 4 pullback before continuing up to 434 or higher. That is why I did take profit exactly at 405. At 405 where the 1.236 was, I longed here yesterday. I had a limit TP set at 405 exactly, took profit there, and I even looked at entering a local short right at 405 just recently here based off of market structure. I still am in that short, but it might get stopped out here. Stops above this high. So you can see we had initial break of market structure here. We came down on that initial one, and then we broke barely market structure. So I looked at the local golden pocket retrace. If we take that golden pocket, came up into that golden pocket area. Oh yeah, right there. And then not right there. I shorted right here at 405. And then we are seeing a bit of a reaction there. So still in that short, stop is above the high, and that is it right there. Okay, so I do expect a small pullback. Now we do have a naked daily point of control at 391.84, but if we're going to pull back in a bigger wave 4 within the bigger wave 5, I know that sounds confusing. So this being a 1, 2, 3, if we're expecting a wave 4 pullback, you can see our previous range value area high, the value area high of our range that was acting as so much resistance in here. I do think that could be an area where we could bounce and then take another long up to 434. If we do our Fibonacci pull from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3, and we look at our wave 4 targets, you can see that that 0.382 is coming in right around that value area high. So I'd say that general area, 382 value area high, maybe just a little bit of a wick past that value area high in this general area could be a support level where we do look for a bounce and then continuation to the upside. Okay, that is it for SUI. Now let's go to XRP. XRP did finally hit into that box of resistance that I talked about. You can see we did get a small reaction from that box. Pretty much just came back and back tested the value area high and then continued the push up here. Now, XRP is still kind of in no man's land, and we do have that daily that's exactly at 237 that we haven't hit yet. But I expect XRP to continue up to 241. We are in an impulsive structure, just like many of the other coins. Let's go on the 2-hour chart. So if you look at this, you know, as a wave, a 1, 2, 3, we could see a back test 4 and then a 5. We could come up in 3 to reject from that 237 level. We have a fresh daily up there. If we turn on our dailies, we have a fresh daily up there that has not been hit and that was front run right in this area. So we would have an SFP into a daily. I am not sure our wave 3 is done yet here. And if this is going to be a 1, 2, we're going to come up to 237, SFP into the daily, SFP these highs into the daily in a wave 3, and then see a retrace in a 4, and then come up to this main box where the major range point of control is, and our anchored VWAP from the all-time high at 241. Ending the 5-wave impulse and then seeing a bigger correction to the downside, but then finding overall a higher low and continuing the push up. So that is it for XRP. I got to go really quickly here, guys, because I got to leave in about 5 minutes. Let's just look now at Link here. Link is breaking out of that descending channel that I talked about. We were talking about this descending channel looking corrective as well and looking for a push up, finally breaking out of the top of the channel here, pushing up to grab the liquidity of these internal highs. We front ran it, and we are seeing a small drop. To me, that is bullish. Just like with Bitcoin last night when we front ran 99.5, saw a small pullback and then busted through it. So I do think Link looks pretty bullish here, and Link could see a small pullback to backtest this pitchfork band around 15.12, and then we could see an explosion, a bigger explosion up to take out these semi-equal highs around 17.5, where we do have our resistance area. We have, first of all, we have the SFP into wave 5 target, 786 is up here. We front ran that, so now that we front run that, we did get the rejection from this box, so I can go ahead and delete that box now. No, here. Okay, and then now we are above that box. We do have the main box is going to be, I would say, up here. This daily, it's the value area low back test of our prior high range. This higher range up here. And then we have these semi-equal highs that are up there. Now, we do have one resistance before that. That guy. We do have a daily up there, a naked weekly point of control, and the 886. That could be the area where we stall out if we don't take out these highs. Overall, Chainlink is looking bullish. We did bounce from that daily golden pocket area that we had marked out. If you did long that, we were showing that many days before we bounced down into that. And the way we were grinding down in this very corrective structure down to it, that was a priority to look for a long from that area. We're getting a very nice impulse out of that support level, breaking the channel. So now I'm going to delete the channel because we don't need the channel anymore. And now we are breaking above this pitchfork band. So now that we're breaking above this pitchfork band, even if we SFP into this resistance here, come a little bit higher in this SFP, I expect a wave 4 retrace to the pitchfork band, in this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe a 5 up to one of these two resistances. We'll have to see how it looks once it gets up there. But that's about it for today, guys. I'm running out of time, so thank you for joining. If you got anything out of this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the video. I do have some partners of the channel. The links are in the description in the comment. BYDFI is offering 15% cash back on your initial deposit, plus up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move. And MEXC is offering 10% cash back deposit and up to $20,000 in future trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you move. Both those links are in the description, and also the link to NAMI is in the description. This is a new indicator I'm using, and there is a 50% off discount code for a limited time in there as well if you're interested in that. All right, thank you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.